Welcome back to my planner stack. Today I'm going to be showing you my art journal, and I do it a little differently than what I've seen anywhere else, so I'm hoping that you find something that you can use for you. I use a traveler's notebook. This is a Chic Sparrow traveler's notebook in the Pocket Plus size. The leather is Odyssey Chronos, which is a retired leather. You can still find it occasionally on the buy sell trade. However, it is really sought after, so good luck with that. I use a Pocket Plus, and normally you stuff a Pocket Plus with pocket size inserts, but I'm not a big fan of the pocket size, so I wanted a little more room in it, so I cut them larger than normal. Now, I have 6 inserts here that I've cut myself, and they're a mixed watercolor and drawing paper. And you can see that I've cut them to where they come right out flush with the edge. And that gives me more drawing space. It's just slightly under A6 size. The sheets I cut were 8 by 5.5 and then just folded them in half. And each section has 6 to 8 sheets in it. 6 if I have more watercolor pages, because that thickens it up. 8 if I have more drawing pages. So, and I have them sitting on each string, so I have 6 strings with 6 inserts. So when you look into it, you have it sitting on an insert, and you can see here that there is nothing binding these. Now when I first started, I did punch some holes there intending to bind them into a book later, and that's still a possibility, but I'm leaning towards just filling up a Pocket Plus. I do have several Pocket Pluses that I don't use, and I love them. So I'm thinking of just filling up a Pocket Plus and then just shelving it and starting a new one. What I'd probably do though is move all these inserts into a Pocket Plus that maybe isn't my favorite, like my Odyssey. So I could always use my Odyssey as the one I'm currently drawing in. But what I could just do is pull out these sections and move them into a one and archive it, and then refill this up and start again. Now, if I do 6 to 8 sheets in each section, that gives me 36 to 48 sheets. I'm not doing this math in my head. I figured it out ahead of time because math is not my strong suit. So if you have 36 to 48 sheets, you can have 144 to 192 individual drawings if there's just one side for one drawing. Now, that's a lot for me. That's going to last me at least a year because I don't draw every day. So I am good with a Pocket Plus a year. I think that is a good plan for me. One thing I did when I was setting up this book, I would put a watercolor page on the outside, because you can see this is not damaging these inserts at all. And I'm, thumbing through these a lot. So I think it's fine. I think if you're doing all drawing paper, you might want to put a cardstock on the outside maybe to kind of give it a little more stability, because drawing paper is thinner than watercolor paper, but that works for me. And the only other thing I wish I would have done when I first started was assign each section, each grouping, a theme or topic or style. I've kind of tried to move them in that direction, but when I started I didn't, so I would just randomly pick a page, and I might have something I've themed, something else, have a random picture in it. Like my first one is more for wildlife. And I got mostly wildlife in that. My second one is also wildlife, maybe kind of more towards birds. But, and then I have a really weirdo one in there. So I wish I would have put that in my weirdo section. But it is wildlife, so in a sense, so that I guess works okay. I do have one that's some stills, and I don't do stills very much, so I hope someday that gets filled up. And then I have one that this was my very first one I started with, so this one's kind of like a hodgepodge. You know, I have some wildlife, and then flowers, and then some watercolor. It just kind of goes all over the place in it. But mostly, this is mostly scenic stuff, but not always. Okay, so then my next one is kind of turned into my weirdo kind of sci-fi fantasy. I love dragons and hobbits and Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings. So I have a section that I kind of gear towards anything kind of in that realm. But then I have a kind of a random one in there too that I didn't really think it through when I did it. It's like, oh, well, right in the middle of my fantasy is a bun. So I wish I would have thought of that a little better. And then my last one is going to probably just be overflow to when I fill one up, unless I think of another theme I want this one for, but we'll see. Right now I'm not drawing at all in this one. I did it mainly to kind of bulk this baby up. But also what I do is I'll find pictures on the internet and to give me an idea, and I'll print them out, and say if I'm gonna do this guy, I'll come in here and I'll just clip him to this page, and then I'll draw it over here. I don't trace it or anything. It's really for inspiration, and I try to make it a little bit different than what I saw, but I'm mainly just doing it to learn technique. I'm not trying to sell. I'm not an artist, so I'm just trying to develop some sort of skills, little as they are. So anyways, and since I'm not an artist, probably I'm going to say next probably doesn't really carry much weight with it, but I do have some tools that I use. I use a couple pencils, and I just use those to kind of rough sketch it so that I get the right shape or the right size, so it's kind of to scale. And before I ink it, I have that pretty much roughed out. And then I have my favorite eraser. It's a white eraser. It does really good when it's erasing the pencil. And then I come in with my Copic multi-liners. I hope I'm saying that right. But I start out pretty small, and then I get larger. So I might come in first with a really tiny one, which I had right here, but now I don't know which one it is. And then I kind of increase the weight on some of them, not all of them, but I might increase the weight of certain lines. And then occasionally I might need a big brush, or I might need gray. Like I'll need a big brush here, and so I have my Tombow double brush that I might use to fill in. Or I also have it to maybe use some gray down here. So anyways, and occasionally I'll need a mild liner to just add some color that I don't really want to watercolor. So I'll add some color in with my mild liners. And I think that's all my tools I can think of. And like I said, I'm not an artist, but this system works for me, and I think it's helping me to develop a little skill and just have fun. So I hope you got something you can use, and y'all have a blessed day.